Derby County head to Fratton Park in their next game in the EFL Championship as we head towards the final 5 games of this championship season. Now, Derby County and Pompey faced up in a similar circumstance this time last year as both teams were chasing down League One promotion. In that game, Derby County and Portsmouth came away with a point each, with Derby County taking the lead twice through Joe Ward and Pompey equalising twice, one through an Owen Moxon screamer. Now, obviously, heading into this game, as you're watching this video, Portsmouth are currently preparing to take on Coventry City this evening, but I wanted to get this video out and this preview out there so that we could take a look into this game and what Derby County need over the course of the next few weeks. Now, obviously, heading into this game, both teams are sitting in a decent place in the league. Now, obviously, for Pompey, should they take victory tonight, they could go as high as 15th in the league, but a defeat would see them within touching distance of Derby County should it be a loss against them. Now, obviously, Derby County find themselves in 21st, level on points with Cardiff City, but 10 goals ahead in goal difference. Now, obviously, 41 games played for Derby, 11 wins, 9 draws, 21 defeats. For Pompey, it's 12 wins, 9 draws and 19 defeats. Now, obviously, it's very tight down there at the bottom. I think anyone from QPR to Luton Town could end up going down. I think really Swansea City and Preston are sort of teetering on the edge of being safe for me. Now, the interesting thought going into this game is both teams are suffering with injury problems across the board. And obviously, you've got the likes of Callum Lang, Hayden Matthews, Eben Boat, all set to be out for the season for Pompey, whereas Derby County are missing the likes of Corey Blackett-Taylor, Curtis Nelson, Dejan Brown, David Ozo, and it's just a horrific look for Derby County and for Pompey with these injuries heading into these final 5 fixtures. Now, obviously, for Derby County, they played last night, as I'm recording this video, up against Burnley, where they secured a 0-0 draw in a game where Derby probably went into that sort of hoping and praying for a draw, and I know for a fact that's what I did, but they came away from it, especially me. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments, but they came away from it thinking we should have taken all 3 points tonight. And I look back at it and I think there was a chance that Jerry Yates had early in the game. There was a chance, another chance later on for Matt Clark. If he'd have left it, Jerry Yates could have tucked it away for a 1-0 victory, and ultimately it just didn't come through for Derby County. But it's 3 wins and a draw in their last 5. 1 defeat up against Swansea City. Pompey, 3 defeats and 2 wins, beating Leeds United and Blackburn, but defeats against Plymouth Argyle, Preston North End and Millwall. And for me, I think Pompey are a very good side. I'm not saying that they're like one of the best teams in the division, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be where they are. But it's going to be interesting to see how they do up against this Coventry City side, because they've absolutely crumbled since that defeat against Derby County. They won the one after, but then lost back-to-back games against Sheffield United and Burnley, which are obviously 2 difficult sides to play against. Do not get me wrong, but Coventry City lost 3 in their last 5, which before then I think they'd only lost once in about 10 or 11 games. So it's one of them where it's going to be really interesting to see how Pompey do get on tonight. And I do think that if we look at Pompey's sort of recent performances, we obviously go to that game against Millwall, and I think Pompey have been a decent side. I think the signing that they've brought in of Dazelle, I think, has been really good. I think Potts is a decent player as well. You look at Murphy as well, who has had a really good season. A player who Derby County were chasing in the summer, by the way. And this season, 7 goals, 10 assists in 34 starts. Would it have been a bad deal for Derby to have gone and picked up Josh Murphy? Like, obviously, looking at those numbers, no. But would he have done the same in a Paul Warne setup? Probably not. But obviously, 30 years old, coming towards the back end of his career. But a really, really good performance from him across the course of this season so far. If you obviously go back to when Derby County played Pompey earlier on this season, it was a 4-0 victory, and one where, for Derby County fans, you sort of hoped that it was sort of the turning point of the season. But it obviously wasn't. Obviously, Derby County, Wilson scored in the 8th minute, Cashin, Adams, and then a Marlon Pack home goal. But you look at the changes that have sort of been made to that team. You don't have McIntyre involved anymore. Marlon Pack didn't start the previous game, and it's just one of those where this Derby team that they played up against that day is also very different. Erin Cashin, no longer at the club. Curtis Nelson no longer at the club. Ben Osborne injured. Kenzo Heldmine doesn't really start at the moment. Mendes Lang doesn't really play. Marcus Harness is now playing as a central striker alongside Jerry Yates. You look at the bench that day. James Collins not at the club. Nat Phillips is now a starter. Callum Elder is currently injured. Liam Thompson a starter. Blackett Taylor injured. Dejan Brown injured. It's a very different Derby County team that Pompey are going to come up against with the introduction of John Eustace as manager. Now, if we do obviously take a look at the game for Pompey tonight, which kicks off at 8 o'clock, so 2 hours after this video goes live, we will be doing a video sort of tomorrow discussing this sort of result and what it means for Derby County and obviously the league table and things like that. But for me, like, it's going to be a very, very difficult one for Pompey. I do think that Coventry were probably a little bit unlucky in that game versus Burnley. But we saw last night how good Burnley can be, and sort of they're not going to score many goals, but if you give them chances, they'll open the door. And obviously against Derby County, just didn't give them any of those chances. Now, obviously, we've spoke about the league table already, but let's just give it another look for Derby County and Pompey, because they're in very sort of similar positions in my opinion. Pompey could still go down here. QPR could still go down. Swansea, like, in my opinion, Preston downwards could all go down. And it's a real interesting conversation. You look at Luton Town, they've picked up 2 wins and 3 draws in their last 5. Cardiff City, 1 win, 3 draws. Derby County, 3 wins and a draw. Stoke, 2 wins, 2 draws. Hull City, 2 wins, a draw. Oxford, 2 wins and a draw. Like, Pompey are sort of, they're in that sort of position where they need another win, but QPR keep losing and drawing games, which obviously opens the door for those teams behind them. But there's a massive conversation here that literally 14th downwards are still in trouble. Obviously, Plymouth Argyle play tonight as well. They face up against Swansea City. If Plymouth Argyle lose tonight, I think we can practically call curtains on their season and sort of say, you know what, it's going to be very difficult from here, because at the moment they're 5 points from safety, and goal difference wise they're 26 goals away, so they need 6 points, which is 2 wins. And you look at like their sort of running, they've got Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, Coventry, Leeds before the end of the season. So if you look at the table as a Derby fan, a Pompey fan, you sort of want Swansea to take the win there. Obviously, as a Derby fan, you want Coventry to take the win versus Pompey. And it's what other games are on tonight as we're sort of discussing those games right now. Let's take a look, shall we? Oxford face QPR. Do we want an Oxford win? QPR win to keep Oxford in it. Oxford draw maybe. Swansea face Plymouth. Obviously Coventry face up against Pompey. It's going to be a very interesting tie for Derby County. It's going to be an interesting one for the league, really. And obviously we've seen over the course of recent weeks that Sandro Langas has been playing through an injury, and he came off against Burnley. Will he be fit and available to play this weekend? It's going to be a massive ask for him, but one which I think he will contend with. It's going to be interesting when we get Callum Elder back as well, because I do think he's absolutely massive in that left wing back position. And maybe it's a case of resting Elder while Langas is playing, then when Elder plays, rest Langas, and that could work really with pushing Fozzie into that left wing back position and Sandro Langas playing in that right centre half, and Elder and Fozzie essentially switching. But obviously you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you have not done so already, let me know your thoughts down below. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, hit the like button as well to push this video to brand new audiences, and I'll catch you in my next video.